Okay, this is your lesson recording for our lesson from Tuesday, the 25th. Today we're working on solving equations with distributive property and writing equations that have the distributive property in them. So let's go over your warm-up. So whenever we have an equation that has parentheses in it, we're going to start by distributing to get rid of those parentheses. And remember, the distributive property is multiplication. So negative 2 times 1, that's going to give us negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 7x is a positive 14x. There's no parentheses on the left-hand side of my equation, so there's no distributing that has to happen. So we will just rewrite that, because as of right now, nothing on that side has changed. Okay. Next, for solving, the first thing we're going to do is get our variables together on the same side of the equation. Right now I have 5x's on the left, 14x's on the right. So I am going to cancel this positive 5x out with a negative 5x, and then add negative 5x to the other side as well, so I keep things balanced. So we get 34 equals negative 2. 14x minus 5x gives us a positive 9x. Now that my variables are on the right, I want my constants to be on the other side of the equal sign. So to cancel out this negative 2, I'm going to add 2. 34 plus 2 is 36 equals 9x. And we want to know the value of 1x, so to cancel out this coefficient of 9, I'm going to divide by 9. And we get that x equals 4. So let's move on to our notes that we did in class today. It wasn't really an assignment, it was just notes. Last year during class, you were taught how to write equations with variables on both sides, and that is going to remain true for algebra, but we are adding in distributive property. So some of the equations that you're going to write, you will have to write quantities that use the distributive property. So let's read this scenario and start from there. Mary, Carlos, and Amanda collect stamps. Carlos has 5 more stamps than Mary, and Amanda has 3 times as many stamps as Carlos. Altogether, they have 100 stamps. Find the number of stamps each person has. So the first thing we have to do, if you look right here, is choose a variable for the unknown quantity. Well, our unknown quantity in this situation is Mary. This word problem gave us no information about her. So we're going to let S represent the number of stamps that Mary has. The word problem did tell us that Carlos has 5 more stamps than Mary. So if Mary is S and Carlos has 5 more, we're going to add 5 stamps to S. That's going to be Mary plus 5. And then lastly, we have Amanda. They told us Amanda has 3 times as many stamps as Carlos. Well, we just said that Carlos is going to be S plus 5. Well, if Amanda has 3 times as many stamps, that means we're going to need 3 times S plus 5, because that's 3 times as many as Carlos. So how do we put all of that into an equation? Well, they told us that there was a total of 100 stamps. So because there's a total, we know we're going to have to add Mary plus Carlos plus Amanda, and that's going to equal the total number of stamps they have. Well, we know Mary is S. Carlos, we said, was S plus 5. And Amanda is 3 times S plus 5. And the total number of stamps is 100. So their total is equal to 100. And from here, we're going to solve for S. So I'm just rewriting the previous line. So s plus 5 plus 3 times the quantity s plus 5. We're going to start by distributing. So 3 times s gives us 3s. 3 times 5 is 15. After we've distributed, we're going to combine our like terms. So we have one s here, another s, and then 3 s's there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That combines to 5s. And then our constants, 5 plus 15 equals 20. And now we are ready to solve. So we're going to start by getting our constants to one side. So subtracting 20 leaves us with 5s equals 80. And again, we want to know the value of 1s, so we'll divide by 5. We get s equals 16. So now that we know s equals 16, we have to remember who that belongs to. So if you go back to the beginning, you'll see we assigned s to be Mary. That means Mary has 16 stamps in her collection. Carlos was s plus 5. So if s is 16, Carlos has 16 plus 5 stamps, or 21 stamps. Amanda is 3 times s plus 5, or in this case, 3 times 21. So Amanda has 63 stamps. A quick way for us to check that we did this right: go through and add the number of stamps together, because we know it should equal 100. So if we add 16 plus 21 plus 63, that gives us 100 stamps. Let's go on to the next problem. Aaron and Alice are bowling. Alice's score is twice the difference of Aaron's score in 5. The sum of their scores is 320. Find each student's bowling score. Write a verbal description of the basic situation, and the sum of their scores is 320. So first, we have to look at who we're comparing. We're comparing Aaron and Alice. So they told us a lot about Alice's score. We know it's twice the difference of Aaron's score, but we don't know what Aaron's score is. So Aaron is going to be our variable. I'm going to let him be A. From there, we know Alice's score is twice the difference of Aaron's score in 5. So the difference is going to be subtraction. So A minus 5. And then twice that means we're going to have to multiply by 2. So that's the expression for Alice. We know the sum, so that's another word for total, so we're going to add. So Aaron plus Alice is equal to their total score. So let's see. We know Aaron is A. We know Alice is 2 times the quantity A minus 5. And we know their total is 320. Now that we've set up our equation, we can go ahead and solve. Start by distributing to get rid of our parentheses. So A plus 2A minus 10. Pay attention to your signs there. 2 times negative 5 gives us negative 10. Combine your like terms. A plus 2A is 3A. And then we're ready to solve. I'm going to add 10 to both sides. That cancels. 3A equals 330. Divide by 3. A equals 110. Now that we know that, we need to go back and find out whose score we just learned. So at the beginning, you'll remember we said Aaron is A. So that means, after solving that, Aaron scored 110 points. Alice was twice Aaron's score minus 5. So 110 minus 5 is 105. Double that, we get 210 points for Alice. Next. A rectangular garden is fenced on all sides with 256 feet of fencing. The garden is 8 feet longer than it is wide. Find the length and the width. So this problem, we're looking for perimeter. If you remember perimeter, we need to find the distance around. So we're going to add up all of the sides for this rectangle. So let's start with the two we know. We have W plus 8. And then we've got this side, which is also W, and another side that's W plus 8. So plus W plus 8 equals a total of 256. Now, that looks like a really long equation. There's another way we can write this that uses the distributive property. So if we look at my sides that are W, I have two of them, right? If you look at your picture, you have two sides that are W. So if we want to shorten this, we can rewrite it as 2W. And then we also have two sides that are W plus 8. So we can take these and write plus 2 quantity W plus 8, because we have two sides that measure that same length, equals 256. And now we're ready to solve. So start with getting rid of those parentheses again. So 2W plus 2W plus 2 times 8 is 16. 2W plus 2W is 4W. Subtract your 16 from both sides, we get 4W equals 240. Divide by 4. W equals 60. So that's one of our measurements. W equals 60. We also need to find the length. So they said the length is the width plus 8. Well, we know the width is 60. Add 8, the length is 68. And then our last example for today. Claire bought just enough fencing to enclose either a rectangular garden or a triangular garden as shown. The two gardens have the same perimeter. How many feet of fencing did she buy? So let's start by finding what we're comparing. So we know she can only have the rectangle or the triangle, but we know the two gardens have the same perimeter. That means the perimeter of the rectangle is equal to the perimeter of the triangle. So how can I write an equation for the perimeter of the rectangle? So to start, I have two sides that have a length of 3x minus 3. I also have two sides that have a length of x minus 3, for a total of 4 sides. For the triangle, I have two sides that are 2x minus 1, and then I have this other side down here that's just a 2x. So we're going to tack that onto the end. So 4 sides here, right? two quantities that we've multiplied by 2, 3 sides here. 2 or 2x minus 1, and another one is 2x. Let's start solving by distributing. There are lots of parentheses here, lots of distributing, so take your time. Make sure you distribute correctly. 2 times 2x is 4x, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, and bring down the plus 2x at the end. Combine your like terms, 6x plus 2x is 8x. Negative 6 and negative 6 is negative 12. 4x plus 2x here, that's 6x. And then minus 2, bring that down. Start solving. Subtract 6x from both sides to get our variables together. Add 12 to move our constants. And then we'll divide by 2 so that we can cancel out that coefficient and have just 1x. So we get x equals 5. However, we are not done because the question asks, how many feet of fencing did you buy? So now that we know what x is, we are going to have to substitute this value back into one of our perimeters. It doesn't matter which one you pick, because like we said at the beginning, they have the same perimeter. So I'm going to do the triangle. So this was our original expression. So now I'm going to substitute the 5s in. 2 times 2 times 5 minus 1 plus 2 times 5. So 2 times 5 is 10, minus 1 is 9. 2 times 9 is 18, plus 10, 28 feet of fencing. Okay, those are your notes. You have a quiz on Thursday. We are going to practice during class tomorrow.